G'day guys, it's djfrizo and welcome to the Premier League predictions for the 2021 season. 2020-2021 season. I have written all this down. This was also helped by one of the websites that I use, so I'll put it down in the description. I think it was called World of Football. I can't remember, but it'll be down there. All the sites that I use to get all this information are all down in the description as well. But yeah, I did this just on my own last year. I did pretty decent with it. Yeah, this will be going out throughout the whole season, and hopefully by the end of the season we'll see how we'll go with it. But before I get into this, I've got a bit of a question for you guys, especially the ones that don't want to finish this video. Just letting you guys know, our family are getting a puppy very soon. It is a Doberman Pinscher, an American Doberman Pinscher, because we're having a bit of a debate. So, just wanting to ask you guys, what name do you prefer out of Gunner or Duke? Which one do you prefer? I'm on this side, of course, because of the boys. Not only because of that, but I do like that name, Gunner. Other people in my family do prefer Duke. So I'm kind of backed into a corner all by myself at this point. So guys, help me out. Let me guys know what name you guys prefer. So I'd love to hear your opinion on that. Anyway, let's get right into it and let's get absolutely abused for this because my knowledge isn't too great on. It's good on Premier League in general. I've got a general understanding of the Premier League because I've watched it for the past 6 or 7 years. Might be about 7 or 8 years, but I would say properly watching it for about 5 years. Yeah, so we'll go into 20th position, and that will be Brighton and HOVE Albion. I do like Brighton. I think they're a good team. Graham Potter is a very good manager. More remember him from when we played ASTON in the Europa League, and they did well against us, and they beat us at our own place. No, Graham Potter's a very good manager. I do like Graham Potter. Going off of their last league position, they finished 15th. They had 9 wins, 14 draws, and 15 losses, scoring 39, conceding 54, and with only 9 clean sheets. Their player of the season, after the multiple websites I found, was Lewis Dunk, which, might I say, is an amazing defender, who was very heavily linked with a move to Chelsea. That would have been a very good signing for Chelsea. As I was sort of writing down everything I needed to do, I heard that he signed a new 5-year deal, I think it was, with Brighton. So maybe that'll change. Maybe they won't be 20th. But I've just got this feeling that they'll get relegated. And I'm going to stick to what I've written. I'm going to stick to it. I'm not going to go back on it. With goal scorers, Morpay, you know who I'm talking about. He scored 10 goals in the season. Again, these are just Premier League stats as well. This is not going through the FA Cup and stuff like that. Tried to make it like that. So I do apologise if the stats are wrong. And top assist maker is their centre-back, Lewis Dunk, with 3. So again, that's another reason why I don't see him staying up, due to there's really no creativity in the team. They can score, like Mopai's 10 goals is okay, it's not the greatest. If you're scoring 10 goals, you really need to have a couple of good players scoring very often, at least 5 goals for another 3 players. If you want to stay up, but I can't see him staying up. I really can't. Brighton fans, I do apologise, but yeah, 20th. You can just blame me for being an Australian. Number 19, Aston Villa. Another team that I don't hate. They're okay. They're a good team. Last year finishing 17th, having 9 wins, 8 draws, and 21 losses. They scored 41 goals. They conceded 67, and they only had 7 clean sheets. Their player of the season, I'm pretty sure you can guess who it is, Jack Grealish. 36 appearances, he scored 8 goals and 6 assists. Again, don't rely on the stats for that because he was brilliant. And as you know, he is linked with a lot of Premier League clubs, including Manchester United, I think very heavily. I don't know if that's died off a little bit because I remember hearing about it everywhere. But, well, he is a very good player and he deserves a move to a big club. He really does. Aston Villa is a big club with big history, but just in this current circumstance, he deserves to be in the top 8 teams. He really does because he'll shine there. He really will. Like I said, Grealish, both top scorer and assister with 8 goals and 6 assists, which is top of both. There's not much else to say about Aston Villa. With all these rumours with Grealish, if he goes, I think Villa are done for a while because they really rely on him, at least from what I've seen. So we'll hope for the best. But anyway, we move on to 18th, which is controversially, and I have to be controversial because we want to get those clicks, don't we? 18th is West Ham United. Yep, West Ham United. Last year they finished 16th. If I'm not mistaken, they had a good it was one or the other. It was they had a good start but then finished bad, or they had a bad start and finished really good. But they ended up finishing with 10 wins, 9 draws, and 19 losses. They scored 49, they conceded 62, and they, like Villa, got only 7 clean sheets. From what I've seen, their player of the season was Declan Rice. That's with 38 appearances, a goal, and 3 assists. Again, don't rely on stats for everything. Very strong links with Chelsea, I've heard recently. Again, another signing for Chelsea, which could be a very good one, considering the way Abramovich, their owner, is spending money left, right, and centre. I think they do need some defensive reinforcements because they're just buying attackers. Werner, Havertz apparently is very close. Ziyech, however, you know what I'm talking about. There's a lot of good players they're going for, and it's a lot of money. So we'll just see how that goes. But anyway, back onto West Ham. Their top scorer, Mikel Antonio, again, near the end of the season, he did start to pick up, and he's a very good player. I like Antonio because he's that strong build and he's quick. And then with the top assists for West Ham United is Pablo Fornals. Again, another player that I really wanted at Arsenal because he's very direct and he gets in there. He's small, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's pretty small, but he's very tricky. Anyway, moving on to a team that will just survive relegation. And again, yes, if you haven't realised already, every single team that has gone up from last year is staying in the Premier League in my prediction. Say of that what you will, but yeah, I'm going bold out here. Number 17, West Bromwich Albion. Last year in the Championship, they did finish second, and you can't deny how good they played at some stages. With 22 wins, 17 draws, and 7 losses, they scored 77 goals. It's conceded 45 and had 14 clean sheets, which is pretty good. Their player of the season, from what I found, it was a mix-up with a couple of them, but Matthews Pereira, he had 42 games, 8 goals, and 20 assists, and you've got to praise that, because 20 assists in a season, no matter what league, is quite impressive. 20 assists, yeah, you got to give him credit for that. The top scorer for West Brom was shared between Charlie Austin and Robson Kanu with 10 goals each, and of course Matthews Pereira with the top assists. I think potentially of the league he got the top assists for, so well done to him. Yeah, I think they will just stay up. I think at the start, that maybe the first 5 or 6 games, they will surprise a lot of teams. Not smashing, but I reckon they'll surprise a lot of teams, but I feel like they'll drop off after about 15-20 games. I've just got this feeling. It's my opinion, understand my opinion, but I do think they'll drop off. Number 16, Newcastle United. Yes, last year they did finish 13th. There was all this talk about a massive billionaire or trillionaire, however rich this guy was, going to try and buy the club and they could start actually competing. But it seems to have fallen through. I don't know why. I don't know the full story on that. Guys, just let me know in the comments if you guys know the full story. They finished last year 13th with 11 wins, 11 draws, and 16 losses. They scored 38, which is probably their weakness, scoring goals. I'd have to say they have scored less than every team I have said previously, so that's something they really need to improve on. They conceded 58 and they've got 11 clean sheets. Their player of the season, as most of the websites did say, Dubravka. In my opinion, again, not 100% stats based, I think Saint Maximin deserves player of the season. With 26 games, 3 goals and 5 assists. Again, stats don't tell you everything. The drive that he's brought into the team is amazing. Like, he's a great player. He's quick, he's agile, he knows how to interact with the fans. I even bloody follow him on Twitter. He's hilarious. And I just think next year he'll do very well. I just think players that they currently have at Newcastle United, I don't think can develop with him. I think they've got a couple of good players. Joe Linton really didn't do anything really as expected. What was it, 45 million fee to get him? Top scorer finished with John Joe Shelvey, and the top assister finished with Andy Carroll. John Joe Shelvey scoring 6 and Andy Carroll assisting 4. Yeah, like I said before, I just don't think they have the squad to be in the top 10, especially they're not Premier League proven, the players that they're worth, and they're not showing their quality before they buy them fully. There's a couple of good signings like Saint Maximin. Like, he's a great player, he's a great find, and he will help them during the season, especially in a full season. 15th, I've got Crystal Palace, and I've only moved them down 1 from last year, being 14th. They had 11 wins, 10 draws, and 17 losses. They scored 31 goals. Again, not a lot of goals scored. They conceded conceded 50 and had held 10 clean sheets. The player of the season, through all the sources that I found, was Jordan Ayew. Of course, you expect more from Zaha, especially the player he is and the player everyone knows he can be. In 37 games, he got 9 goals and 2 assists, which is not too great. Top scorer being Jordan Ayew, of course, and the top assister being James MacArthur with 3. Crystal Palace always seem to find them in that sort of 16th to 10th spot, and I feel like they'll stay there again. Unless Zaha moves, we were heavily linked with him at the start of the transfer window when it opened again this year, but it seems to have fallen through because considering we've gotten Willian, he kind of covers that position. Again, not to the standard of Zaha, because I find that Zaha's a great player. I think it'll be once again Zaha saving Crystal Palace from relegation, so a 15th place spot is where I predict. Number 14 might surprise a couple of you. I predict Fulham. Last year in the Championship, they finished 4th, had a pretty decent season, 23 wins, 12 draws, 11 losses. They scored 64, they conceded 48, and they had 18 clean sheets. Their player of the season, in 40 games, Alexander Mitrovic scored 26 goals and 2 assists. Of course, being the top scorer. The top assisters of Fulham, for Fulham United were Joe Bryan and Ivan Cavallero with 7 assists each. Yeah, same thing. I think they'll have a very good year considering they've just come up, and I predict they'll finish 14th. Now, Southampton, 13th for Southampton. Last year they finished 11th. Didn't start off that great, especially with that smashing against Leicester. No, I don't think the Southampton fans will ever forget that. But they did pick it up. They did really pick up, especially with Danny Ings having probably the season of his life, scoring 22 goals in 38 games. He played every single Premier League game. But in their league position last year, they finished with 15 wins, 7 draws, and 16 losses. They scored 51, they conceded 60, and had 9 clean sheets. And of course, player of the season being Danny Ings with that amazing goal record. And with the top assister being Nathan Redmond with 4. Yeah, I don't think they'll struggle too much this year. They did finish 11th. I do think they'll drop off because I believe there are so many, basically the other teams that I haven't mentioned yet, I feel that they can just do that little bit more than Southampton can. And again, if Ings has another beautiful season, you never know where they're going to finish. Anyway, 12th, Burnley. Of course, last year they finished 10th. They love finishing anywhere between 10th and 8th. They love it. You've got to give props to Sean Dyche because, I mean, the amount of years he's been at Burnley, and even no matter what the players are, they know how to structure them defensively. They can be frustrating to play against sometimes, especially at Turf Moor. With 43 goals scored, 50 conceded, and 15 clean sheets, they had a decent year. Player of the season, from what I found, was Nick Pope. What a keeper this guy is. Pope, great keeper, saved him a lot of times, and you got to praise him for that. Top scorer being Chris Wood with 14, which is very good. Top assister being Dwight McNeil with 6. Anyway, this is the risky one, considering it's their first time in the Premier League for 17 years, and the stature of their club, you'd almost expect them to be in the Premier League, but they haven't been for 16, 17 years, and I'm guessing you know who I'm talking about. Leeds United, they are back in the Premier League. Anyway, they finished the Championship first, as you all probably will know already, with 28 wins, 9 draws, and 9 losses. They scored 77, they only conceded 35, and they had 22 clean sheets, which is really impressive. Their top scorer of the year was Patrick Bamford with 16 goals. Their top assister was Pablo Hernandez. I forgot to mention before, he won the player of the season. In 36 games, he scored 9 and assisted 9. And Bielsa, you got to give props to Bielsa because, I mean, he's revolutionized the game almost. The tactics and the in-depth analysis that he puts into putting teams out it's quite impressive. It really is. And that's why I feel they will finish 11th this year. Again, they will have a great first season back in the Premier League for the first time. They deserve it for the stature of a club they are, and I feel that they'll finish 11th, and they will give the big teams a good run for their money with Bielsa. I mean, Bielsa, he knows what he's on, basically. Moving up to 10th, I was always I was conflicting myself between Leeds, who I've just said, and 10th spot right now. And in 10th spot, I've put Sheffield United. Only 1 spot down from what they finished last year, but they finished with 14 wins, 12 draws, and 12 losses. Again, the underdog of the season, you could probably say. Sheffield United came up in the Premier League and absolutely killed it. And I can't see them stopping from there. I can't see them dropping too far down. But they finished the season with 39 goals scored, 39 conceded, and 13 clean sheets. Player of the season, I found, was Chris Basham, which I think is their centre-back. They had, in 38 games... you don't really need to know his stats. He's a centre-back. He assisted 1 goal, basically. Their top scorer for the season was Oliver McBurney. The top assister, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Lys Musset, 4 assists. Had an amazing year. It just shows their mentality, and I think that they'll just edge it over Leeds, or maybe they might be switched. I'm not sure. That's what I'm predicting. Number 9. This can be controversial in a way because they had a very good year last year. Wolverhampton Wanderers I've put in 9th place. Last year they did finish 7th, and you got to praise them for an amazing season. They destroyed teams like City, really well against City. They always do well against the big teams. They finished in 7th with 15 wins, 14 draws and 9 losses. They scored 52, conceded 40 and had 13 clean sheets. The player of the season, I'd have to say, in my opinion, was Raul Jimenez, and I feel like even the amount of recognition he gets, he doesn't get enough. He really doesn't. He is such an amazing player. Someone I would have at Arsenal in a heartbeat. He is so crucial to the way they play. In 38 games, again, played the full season, 17 goals and 6 assists in the Premier League, which is just, it's amazing. You got to give a big mention to Adama Traore, which I think he's probably improved. He's probably the most improved player during the season, and that shows with those 2 players. The top scorer was Raul Jimenez with 17, and the top assister was Adama Traore with 9. I actually really do enjoy watching Wolves. 8th, Leicester City. Last year they did finish 5th. For a long time, it looked like they were going to go and do a 2015 again. They did drop off. They did start to choke right at the end with a couple of really, really poor results. But in 5th, they finished with 18 wins, 8 draws and 12 losses. They scored 67 goals. They conceded 43 and they kept 13 clean sheets. Player of the season, undoubtedly, you've got to give it to Jamie Vardy. I mean, this guy is just scoring goals for fun. He always does it. 35 games, he scored 23 goals and gave 5 assists. Is, of course, top of the league, top scorer. It was really out of Ings, Aubameyang and Vardy, and I mean, Jamie Vardy deserved it. He's a great player. And the top assister for the team was Harvey Barnes with 8. Number 7. This might surprise a couple of you considering where they finished last season. I'm going with 7th, Everton. Now, last year they did finish 12th, and you could say with the players that they have and the manager that they had being in Ancelotti, so the players like Richarlison, you've got Calvert-Lewin, and many more. I can't think of it off the top of my head now. They've got so many good players, especially Richarlison, how good this guy is. Again, I mean, apparently they rejected a £60 million or £70 million offer from Barcelona, apparently. Richarlison's a great player, and I believe they will have a really good year, especially with Ancelotti. You can't put off Ancelotti. He's an amazing manager, and I feel like he'll really turn those draws that Everton get and most of the losses into wins, or even losses into draws. Anyway, I skipped over it. They finished with 13 wins, 10 draws and 15 losses. They scored 44, conceded 56 and kept 9 clean sheets. Again, player of the season, Richarlison. I feel like there's no argument there. 36 games, 13 goals and 3 assists, which is... it's pretty great in that sort of Everton team. Top scorer for the season, again, like I mentioned before, Calvert-Lewin. What a player. He's a great striker. Top assist of the Everton side was Luca Digne, however you want to say it. Digne. With 7 assists. Like I said before, as you guys probably didn't expect me to say Everton so highly, I feel like they're going to be surprise of the season. Under Ancelotti, I think they'll surprise a lot of people. Number 6. It's hard to not be biased towards these guys. I did try my best, because if I was completely biased, I would have put them in the relegation zone. Tottenham Hotspur. They finished 6th last year. I have put them 6th again this year. From a completely neutral perspective, and I'm trying to be as neutral as possible, I feel like Mourinho at this stage, some people think he's finished, some people think he's not. I feel with the resources that Spurs are giving to Mourinho, especially with the person Mourinho is as a manager, I don't think they can compete financially unless they sell some of their big players. I'm pretty sure they got rid of Vertonghen on a free to Benfica. Again, that's a big loss because Vertonghen was a decent centre back, and he could also play left back as well. But unless they sell someone huge, I feel that they can't spend a lot of money, because that is an expensive stadium. They finished with 16 wins, 11 draws and 11 losses. They scored 61 goals, which is very good. 47 conceded and 8 clean sheets. But in 30 games with 11 goals and 10 assists, in a very up and down Tottenham side, he's an amazing player. He really is. And I've got to be completely honest here. I hate Tottenham.
One more time. I hate Tottenham, but Heung-min Son is an amazing player. You gotta give him that. With the top scorer Harry Kane and top assist with Heung-min Son with 10. Fifth, I've gone for Chelsea. I haven't gone with Arsenal. Chelsea, they finished 4th last year, and Chelsea's a weird one. Chelsea's a very weird one with me. They finished 4th with 20 wins, 6 draws, and 12 losses. They scored 69 goals. And conceded 54 and had 9 clean sheets. Player of the season, Willian, who is now an Arsenal player. With 36 games, he scored 9 goals and 7 assists. Had an amazing year, and then Arsenal have gone and snatched him up. Now, but Chelsea's a weird one because attacking-wise, they look very good. With Giroud there, of course, a former Arsenal player. You've got Tammy Abraham. He's had his issues with injury and stuff recently. You've got players like Pulisic, which, to be fair, I do feel bad for him, especially in the injury in the FA Cup. You've got players like Mason Mount. It's more their defence that's worrying for me, and they're going out and buying all these attackers and stuff like that, which, yes, goals win you games, but defense wins you titles. And I feel like you look at the old Chelsea with the John Terry and Petr Cech in goal, you look at that and you're like, well, if they couldn't score, you know they could defend a lead, whereas now it just doesn't seem... They don't seem strong at the back, and I know I'm one to be talking. I just see them struggling if they don't get a defender, a really strong, even a couple defenders, not even one. As you can see, I like Lampard as a manager. I actually do. I think he's really good. Considering he finished 4th in his first year, I mean, you've just got to praise him. And he didn't really have a full transfer window to do stuff. I mean, he brought players in, but he couldn't play with them as of yet because it was during, I'm pretty sure it was during the season. But he's a no-nonsense manager, which is, of course, very good. He knows what it's like to play for the badge. Club legend, so you know he's not going to be mucking around. Top scorer, Tammy Abraham with 15. Again, a great striker. Has a very high ceiling for his potential. And, of course, top assister with Willian, who is... with 7 assists, who is now an Arsenal player. And 4th, controversially some might say, it's Arsenal. Last year, we finished 8th. A poor season for Arsenal standard. And yes, we are in the development stage. We are really in that building the club stage at this point. Made so many jobs redundant, 55 jobs redundant. Our owner is just, he's not passionate for the club. He's not giving us any money to spend on players to help us out. He's using it as just a business to get that extra little bit of money for him so he can go spend it in America on his bloody football team. But through all of that, you got to agree, since Mikel Arteta took over, and of course with the break that happened in the season due to the crown virus, you've got to say Mikel Arteta has turned it around. And last year, of course, we finished 8th with 14 wins, 14 draws, which is pathetic, and 10 losses. We scored 56. Again, scoring is not a real issue with us too much. We conceded 48. Now there's the issue. And we kept 10 clean sheets. Player of the season, I'm sure you guys know who it is. It's Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. And might I just say, hopefully by the time this gets uploaded, he's signed that bloody contract. With 36 games, he scored 22 goals and 3 assists. And you've just got to give it to him in a team that was sort of going through a whole development stage, and where we were, he was playing out of position. You've just got to give this guy props. He doesn't get enough praise. He gets critiqued for anything. I mean, it pains me to say, but that game against Olympiacos in the Europa League, he scored that amazing bicycle kick. Mind you, I was actually in class at uni and I jumped up and celebrated. But you got to give him props. Playing out of position in a real dysfunctional team at times, especially under Emery, you got to give him props. You really do. He's an amazing player, and it'll really put a statement out there to all other clubs saying Mikel Arteta knows what he's doing, and he's drilling it into the players, and they know what he wants from them. Top scorer being Aubameyang with 22, and the top assist maker with Nicolas Pepe with 6 assists. Again, Arteta, we just look confident. Initially, he's playing out from the back because that's how he wants us to play, and over time, we've just looked more and more confident. He's drilling it into the players, and a player that's really surprised me since Mikel Arteta's come in has been Ceballos. Ceballos has been brilliant, and I hope he comes back. We can sign him on a permanent deal because he's back at Madrid now. With signings such as Gabriel, which hopefully when this comes out, we should be announced. It's pretty much a done deal, it seems. All the talk with Thomas Partey as well, or Partey. If that goes through, that'll be amazing. Yeah, but like I said, with those couple of signings in those important areas like the midfield and the defense, I see us being in the top 4. I really do. Just something about Arteta just brings you that positivity. There's one of the words. And confidence to go on and win games and turn games around. It's really sparked something in Arsenal, and it's And it shows the old Arsenal. It really does. It shows that sort of that fighting spirit that we once lost when it was under Emery. But yeah, enough about that. That was probably the longest section. But I have a passion for this club, so yeah. Third, quite controversial because they did finish in this position last year. Pretty surprisingly as well, Manchester United I've put third. Of course, they finished third last year with 18 wins, 12 draws and 8 losses. They scored 66 goals, which is quite impressive. 36 conceded and 13 clean sheets. Their player of the season, in my opinion at least from what I've seen, has been Marcus Rashford. Great player, you can't deny it. Young, 22 I believe, and he's sometimes winning games on his own. In 31 games, he scored 17 and assisted 8. Top scorer, Anthony Martial. Again, a player that I like. He's not hit the heights that he should. Yes, 17 goals. I think it's his best season he's had. I just feel there's a lot left in Martial. Top assisters, Bruno Fernandes. Again, great player. I feel it's really brought Manchester United to life. I don't feel like Ole, the manager, will last this year. Again, that's a personal opinion. Might be controversial. I don't think he'll last this year. No matter where they stand, I feel like they'll have a bit of dip. Feel like they'll have maybe 3 or 4 times where they've just absolutely destroyed it, and I feel like Ole will leave. I don't know who's going to come in. That's my personal preference, just to add a little bit of more controversy in there. And like I said, they look good near the end of the season, as much as it pains me to say that. Now, number 2 and 1, of course, I think it's pretty self-explanatory who's in the top 2, because they are probably, some would say, light years ahead. But I feel like this year, considering people know what both teams are about, they know how they play. Of course, Liverpool had that amazing season this year, and you've got to give them props, fair play. I feel like it'll be a lot closer this year, especially between the gap of Liverpool and City. I think it was about 20 points or something like that. Number 2... Can you guess? Number 2, controversially, I have gone for Liverpool. I believe that the former champions will drop off a position this year. An amazing 32 wins, 3 draws and 3 losses last season. Scoring 85, only conceding 33 goals, which is just mind-blowing, and 15 clean sheets. Player of the season, Jordan Henderson, 30 games, 4 goals and 5 assists. A real driving force. He was just, of course, the captain, and he drove them to the Champions League trophy last year and also their Premier League this year, and you've got to give him props. Top scorer, Mohamed Salah with 19. Top assister, Trent Alexander-Arnold with 13. Again, a great season from them too again. I think they'll do well. Like I said, they have an amazing team. I don't think they'll storm away with the league again, especially because a lot of teams now know what they're about. Instead of last year, they sort of had to... I mean, they looked good the season before, but I feel like people will sort of have them... There's 3 new teams coming into the Premier League, like happens every year. So I reckon they'll be... I reckon they'll finish second this year. Still a strong finish, and I reckon it'll be very close between first and second, but I believe Liverpool second. And number 1, I'm pretty sure you can guess who I put, of course, because there's one team left. Manchester City to win the league this season. Last year, of course, they were second, finishing with 26 wins, 9 draws and 9 losses. They scored 102 goals, which is insane. They conceded 35, which is again amazing, and 17 clean sheets. I think it's the best record in the league. Player of the season, Kevin De Bruyne, and just might I add, Kevin De Bruyne he's ridiculous. With 35 games, he scored 13 and assisted 20. Top scorer being Raheem Sterling with 20 goals. Again, an amazing season for him last year. The top assister, of course, being Kevin De Bruyne. And I've got absolutely no problem in saying De Bruyne is, at this stage and for the past couple of years, the best player in the Premier League. No problem in saying that. But this year, again, I feel like it'll be so close between Liverpool and Manchester City. I just have that sneaking feeling that City will just edge it over Liverpool, but again, it's a predictor. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Your opinion is, and again, it's just opinions. Have a bit of a fun discussion. No major arguments. Just have a bit of fun. Anyway, I think that's going to be it. So I'll probably put the league table that I've actually made up through this just here. You can have a look through it, and at the end of the season, I'll be giving myself 3 points. If I get it spot on the position, I'll give myself 1 point if I'm 1 position off, and I'll give myself 0 points if I'm 2 positions off. So basically following the Matt HD Gamer strategy of this. So thank you, Matt. But anyway, guys, thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this sort of video. It's a bit different. Again, I'm a very passionate fan of football. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and be sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more, and also click the notification bell to get notified when I upload next. So yeah, there's a couple of videos in the future that I'm looking forward to doing, and I think you guys will enjoy them. Bit different to gaming. I'm sort of trying to broaden everything I'm trying to do. So, but again, thank you for watching, and come on, you Gunners.